Getting into third base, and then we're going to steal home. Third base is spiritual stuff. Bottom line is, a lot of churches don't like to talk about demons. A lot of Christians don't like to talk about demons, and they rather ignore them as if it's going to be okay. It's like putting your head in the sand, or you're driving down the highway and your car starts making a noise, and in order to ignore it, you just turn the music up. That's what I've had Christians, even some people in my family, say, "You don't mess with demons; they don't mess with you. Just leave them alone." No, stop. That's like saying if you got a little nasty Lance Corporal, don't mess with him, and the Lance Corporals will leave you alone. No, you throat punch them. What? You karate chop them. All right, so let's get into the spirit realm. Again, I got another video I'm going to show you about anytime sin is involved with fornication, devils are involved. They just are. Get over it. Remember I told you the 3 levels of sex? Body, soul, and spirit. So we've been talking about the body, we talked about the soul, and I really went through that soul real quick, and so that I could have probably spent a lot more time in that, but anyway, got to move on. But the spirit realm, if it's godly sex, we're talking about holiness and righteousness. If it's sinful sex, it's open doors for demons, and that's one of the biggest problems we have. I got to say this. There's a point where you can blame demons, and up to a certain point you can blame demons. But what I know from experience, from personal experience, from ministry, is that at some point you can bind up demons and be forgiven for stuff. And then now it's on you. It's back to your soul, your decision maker. It's up to you. And a lot of times Christians, overwhelmingly, they walk in the flesh because there's a tug of war going on. All right? If I told you you're a 3-part being, your spirit wants to go this way. Your body wants to go this way. That's your flesh, right? What's in the middle? Your soul is right there. So there's a tug of war going on. Which way are you going to go? No. Say it. Who said flesh? You said flesh? Flesh. I choose flesh. No, it depends on which one you feed, which one is stronger. If you don't feed your spirit, man, your flesh is stronger, and you're going to get drugged this way. This is your decision maker right here, your soul. But if you choose to feed your spirit man is strong, it'll drag your little carcass this way into righteousness. It just will. It's not complicated. I'm telling you, most Christians just say, just give me a pill that I can be saved and sanctified. It doesn't work like that. It requires discipline. It requires work. Just giving you things, does that foster faith? If you have children and you gave them everything that they asked for, what kind of kids are you going to have? Spoiled brats, right? So God's kind of the same way. If I just give you everything, it's not going to foster faith. I'm just going to foster a bunch of brats. Why do you think? It's only through hard work that you're going to appreciate something. I hope you understand that. It's only through hard work. Discipleship is hard, but it's only through something that you do that requires something of you that you're going to appreciate it. Does that make sense? I've told you guys, if I gave you guys $1 million, let's say I had millions to spare and I gave all of you $1 million, you would take it and you would appreciate it to some degree. But you would never appreciate it as much as I appreciate it. Why? You'd appreciate it, but not as much as I do. Why? What does that mean? I work for it. What does that mean? I know what it took to earn millions and millions of dollars. You don't. You just took it. You didn't earn it, so you don't really care as much as I do. It's like a stripe. The next stripe. They say you went out for meritorious promotion. You busted your tail. You got shot down a few times, but you kept going and you got it. Did you put in the work? Yeah. Same thing with discipleship. Same thing with the 300 PFT. Do you guys still do PT? I'm not sure, man. I've seen so many fat Marines. It's disgusting. You know it's true. It's disgusting, man. Yeah. And so a 300 PFT, show of hands, who does 300 PFT? There's one. One. Show of hands, who wants a 300 PFT? And we want it, but what is it going to take? Work. A lot of time, grinding that thing out. Yeah? Discipleship. That's what that is. All right? So, that's my wife back there. I saw something pretty back there, and I'm like, what is that? That's my wife. All right, so somebody get the lights. We're talking about possession, demons, and what's his name? Nefarious. I was going to say narcissist. What do you think? Insightful? Makes sense? Makes you wonder? Yeah, this is what we've been talking about. How do demons get possession? Increments. And the more that we sin, the more they have right in possession and actually legal right to control us. Yes? And they want your soul. All right, so Jesus said, in patience, you're going to possess your soul. And in patience, you're going to lose your soul. Let's go ahead and stand up. I need you to find someone and pray with them very quickly. Find someone and pray. Okay, let me see here. We talked about that already. Let's go to Romans 6, everybody. John, Acts, Romans. John, Acts, and then Romans. All New Testament. John, Acts, and then Romans. Romans chapter 6. Somebody stand up and read that. 13, 14, 15, and 16. Parker, you got it? Yeah, I got it. Parker got that. Thanks, Xavier. 6:13? Yeah, 13, 14, 15, and 16. All right. Everybody got it? Hang on. Everybody close in on that? Very, very important. Because the question I'm going to ask, right, you guys, what would possess someone to, and then you fill in the blanks. Before he reads that, have you ever heard that? What would possess someone to do what? Like what? Murder. Lie. Well, lies, everybody lies. Come on, I'm talking about real heinous, over-the-top acts. You're like, what would possess? Huh?
Molest a kid.
Molest a kid. That's a big one. And we all step back and we ask the question, even in courts-martial, they ask the question, what would possess someone to? You don't want the answer. We're talking about demons, but hey, you can't bring that up in the court. They're like, no. What will possess a father to molest his son or daughter? What will possess, someone to sell a kid into slavery? What will possess someone to get an abortion? All right, everybody got it? Romans chapter 6. And then make sure you read the verses in between, 13, 14, 15, 16. Different translations and all. Go.
It is written 13. Do not present your member as an instrument of unrighteousness to sin, but present yourself to God as being alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness to God. 14. For sin shall not have dominion over you, for you are not under law, but under grace. From slave of sin to slave of God. 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under law but under grace? Certainly not. 16. Do you not know that you whom present yourselves slaves to obey, you are that one slave whom you obey, whether of sin leading to death or obedience leading to righteousness?
Okay, thank you. Who's got NLT? Stand up and read that, please. Now pay attention. There's a lot being said.
Verse 13, it is written, do not let any part of your body become an instrument of evil to serve sin. Instead, give yourselves completely to God, for you were dead, but now you have new life. So use your whole body as an instrument to do what is right for the glory of God. Verse 14, sin is no longer your master, for you no longer live under the requirements of the law. Instead, you live under the freedom of God's grace. Verse 15, well then, since God's grace has set us free from the law, does that mean we can go on sinning? Of course not. Verse 16. Don't you realize that you become the slave of whatever you choose to obey? You can be a slave to sin, which leads to death, or you can choose to obey God, which leads to righteous living.
Okay, thank you. It starts out with, do not let yourself become an instrument of unrighteousness. What does your translation say? An instrument of evil. Raise your hand in here if you know that you've allowed Satan or you've allowed anything to use your body as an instrument of evil. Any specifics? Did you know where? How? Okay, not you guys, but other people. Not you guys, but other people that you've seen. Explain, how can I be used as an instrument of evil where sex is concerned? Nice and loud.
Well, for example, let's say someone wants to cheat on someone,
Mm-hmm.
like cheating on your wife or vice versa.
Sure, cheating. But how did that make you an instrument of evil?
They cheated with you.
Someone cheated with you. Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
You create insecurities through sex, like you hit it and ditch it.
Hit it and ditch it. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like the amount of damage a man does who intentionally manipulates a woman into having sex.
Yeah. Yeah, you see, you guys are kind of being tame about this. I'm talking about real heinous stuff. Even though you're correct in everything you guys are saying, it is still evil. Go ahead.
Like home wrecking.
Home wrecking. That's a big one. What do you mean?
For example, someone specifically sleeping with someone with the intention of either ending the relationship.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
Stealing someone else's wife or husband. Sir.
All the like evil things Epstein did to mock God and like worship Moloch.
Say that again. That who?
Epstein, all the evil things. He did.
Epstein. We're talking about.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Who's he? That's the island, Pleasure Island guy?
Yeah.
His name was Jeffrey? Okay. And see, what about Moloch?
He's like in the emails. He like served like Moloch and Baal.
Really? I didn't know that.
And
Is that true or is that?
No, it's not true.
Whatever. I don't know. I don't buy into that. I mean, it's probably true, but I'll take it with a grain of salt. Like, I don't know. Maybe I know he was doing some wicked stuff, right? But if he was serving Satan like that, wheesh. Okay. What about? I had a guy. I've had several guys. This guy in particular, he was a corporal, early 80s. He was an armorer. He contracted AIDS. He was like 21, 22 years old, contracted AIDS. And then he went out in town and was intentionally giving high school girls AIDS. He got caught, court-martialed, and they put him away. I don't know what happened to him. Instrument of evil?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the lady who received an STD, herpes or something, and now because now she's got this lifelong disease that jumps on her periodically, she intentionally gives it to other guys. Instrument of evil? Somebody who has AIDS giving these STDs away. Instrument of evil. Anybody know who bug catchers are? What are bug catchers? It's a phenomenon. It's picking up a lot of traction among idiots. What? Go ahead, Cheetah. You know what it is?
Yeah, it's somebody that's trying to get as many STDs, STIs, or whatever you want to call it. They're just collecting them all like a Pokemon.
Why? Did you hear what he said? There are groups of people. Say it loud so they can hear you.
There are people out there that are collecting STDs or STIs, just seeing how many they can get.
Mm-hmm. And the gold medal of all is AIDS. And they intentionally want to catch STDs. Why? Huh? For what? Yeah, they're retarded. They're idiots. But why? It gives them attention and clout among the groups. It's exciting. Ooh. It's foolishness. And so these are instruments of evil. And so these people are just, they're setting you up for falls, and they're doing it intentionally. And they're being, it's kind of like, if I really had to simplify this, it's kind of like, raise your hand if you've given bad directions. Legit, you've given bad directions. Like, oh, my bad, I said left, it should have been right. Oops. Right? You ever done that? Why'd you laugh, Julia? Okay, what about, have you ever, not just bad directions, but you've given bad advice? Okay, not you guys, but everybody else, all them other Christians. What kind of bad advice did they give? Wear a condom. Do it, but wear a condom. What? No, I think somebody said, start from the head down. Who said that? Who said? I know it was you. I didn't want to bust you out. or spin that record. This is bad advice. They're promoting evil. What else do they say to promote evil? Yeah. Oh. That's a big one right there. I would share it, but you guys will probably try to use it. I'm not going to tell you. Huh? I did? Don't use this. Don't go ahead. Follow your heart. That's a bad one right there. That is. Just follow your heart. Your heart knows all things. No, it doesn't. Your heart is deceitfully wicked. Good. It's okay to window shop. It's okay to taste and sample. You got to test drive before you get married. Good. I don't understand.
It means like the person, like you're talking. Usually, when you talk to someone, it's with intent of
Yeah.
gain. But you would have people that would talk to multiple people.
Okay, yeah.
that thinking they could just pick
Yeah. I had a guy, he was a staff sergeant, I was a corporal or sergeant. Anyway, his advice, because you know how all the guys get together and we talk about, dating tips and how to score and how to get laid and all this other stuff. His thing was, and again, I'm going to share this with you, but if you do this, I pray curses on your life. I pray that God strike you down right where you're at. Do not take this information and go use this to manipulate and deceive. If you do, I pray curses on your life. Can you do that? I did it. Don't do this. But this guy, man, smooth, man. But anyway, he said, so this is what I do. I see a girl and I want to get some of them. I want to score with her. So what I do, I'll take her out on a date, and then we'll go eat and I'll pay for the food and everything. And then before I take her home, I take her to the furniture store, and then we walk to the furniture store. And we look at living room furniture, we look at bedroom furniture, we look at kitchen furniture, dining room furniture. And he says, but I always make the last stop baby furniture. And then she's standing next to me. I'm looking at all the baby, admiring the bassinet and things like that. I said, wow, I can't wait to have a baby. And he says, and I just watch her, and her response tells me if I'm going to get it or not. And usually it's like she goes, oh, I got a good one. Oh, he wants a baby, so do I. Okay, I'm going to give him some tonight. And he says it works every time. That's horrible. That's horrible. Don't do that. That level of instrument of unrighteousness, instrument of evil. Yeah? Oh. What? What'd you say? That's devilish, man. It is. All right, so check this out. What would possess someone to? We had a guy that cut another woman. He was having an affair. Guy A was having an affair with B's wife. They were in both active duty Air Force, and the wife and Guy B was not her husband. They plotted to kill her husband, and he murdered her husband here on island. He cut the guy's throat and killed him. Long story, man. But anyway, he ended up turning himself in because he said the guilt was just too much. He said it was just, they interviewed him, they questioned him, the police, CID, and he passed. They didn't know it was him. He said, but within a few days, he said this guilt, this shame, this haunting was just too much. He turned himself in. And the investigators said they were surprised it was him. At his court martial. So we didn't know that's how good he was, right? And so, anyway, evil. They plotted to evil. Anyway, he's a Christian. We baptized him. He's doing life without parole in Leavenworth right now. Hope to see him someday. So, giving demons permission to operate in your life, all of this stuff, we won't go over that. We've already gone over a lot of this. Everybody go to Hosea chapter 4. I'm going to read this myself. I'm going to read it in the massage. Find Hosea, guys. Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea. What did I say? 4:6. Now pay attention. I'm going to read this passage of scripture. It's pretty long. In the Message. Now the Message is a loose translation. It's a paraphrase. It's basically trying to convey the spirit of what's being said. It's not a literal word-for-word translation. So don't get your panties in a bunch saying, that's not what my Bible says. It's a paraphrase. Matter of fact, anytime you stand up and try to interpret a scripture audibly, you're paraphrasing. If I want to translate for God so loved the world, how would you say that? For God so loved the world. How would you say that? Literal is me saying, for God so loved the world. Can you explain that to me? For God so loved the world. That's literal. Can you explain that to me? For God so loved the world. For God so loved the world. For God, you got nothing else. That's literal. But to paraphrase, what does that mean? And you kind of try to expound and kind of say what it says. Got it? Paraphrase, message. Everybody there? Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. Now, he starts off with verse 6. My people, he doesn't say anybody. He said, God is saying, my people are ruined because they don't know what's right or true. Because you've turned your back on knowledge, I turn my back on you priests. Because you refuse to recognize the revelation of God, I'm no longer recognizing your children. 7, the more priests, the more sin. They traded in their glory for shame. We're all priests. 8, they pig out on my people's sins. They cannot wait for the latest in evil. 9, the result, you can't tell the people from the priests or the priests from the people. I'm on my way to make them both pay and take the consequences of the bad lives they've lived. 10, they'll eat and be as hungry as ever, have sex and get no satisfaction. They walked out on me, their God, for a life of rutting with whores. 11, wine and whiskey leave wine and whiskey leave my people in a stupor. 12, they ask questions of a dead tree. They're talking about idolatry and dead idols that they created. They expect answers from a sturdy walking stick. Drunk on sex, they can't find their way home. They've replaced their God with their genitals. 13, they worship on the tops of mountains, make a picnic out of religion. Under the oaks and elms on the hills, they stretch out and take it easy. Before you know it, your daughters are whores and the wives of your sons are sleeping around. 14, but I'm not going after your whoring daughters or the adulterous wives of your sons. It's the men who pick up whores that I'm after, the men who worship at the holy whorehouses, a stupid people ruined by whores. 15, you've ruined your own life, Israel, but don't drag Judah down with you. Don't go to the sex shrine at Gilgal. Don't go to that sin city, Bethel. Don't go around saying, God bless you, and not mean it, taking God's name in vain. Oh, buddy, they're saying something there. 16, Israel is stubborn as a mule. How can God lead him like a lamb to open pasture? 17, Ephraim is addicted to idols. Let him go. 18, when the beer runs out, it's sex, sex, and more sex. Bold and sordid debauchery. How they love it. 19, the whirlwind has them in its clutches. Their sex worship leaves them finally impotent. There's a lot being said here, but I want to highlight right here in verse 6, he says, my people, not just anybody. He says, my people. That's the church today. That's the church today. What percentage of men do you think in the church masturbate and watch porn? Take a guess. What percentage? In any given church. Take a shot. 80%. What do you think? 75%. A lot of studies say that it's about 50%, 60%. They're lying. I promise you it's probably 90, 95%. Watch. Raise your hand in here if you haven't masturbated this year. See, there's like 1 or 2 guys. See? And so that's what he's talking about. He says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You guys are getting knowledge right now. Yeah? Okay. He goes on and says, the spirit of whoredoms has caused my people to err. The spirit of whoredoms. If you know this, don't answer it. If you answer this, I'm going to throw something at you. What's your name right here? Micah? What a great name, Micah. Have I met you before? Okay, so I just met you recently. Okay, what does whoredoms mean? Okay, go ahead, tell him. Not Dexter, it's Dylan. Devin, oh gosh, it's going to take me a minute. Devin with an I. Devin. What's a whoredom? Somebody that's a whore. Not quite. Go ahead, tell him, Brady. Diego, you're messing this up. The kingdom of whores. Ooh. You know, I had a Marine. What's a whoredom? He said it's a dumb whore. It's like a Marine. That was pretty. I love that. That was pretty good. I got to remember that. If it's a compound word, let me just say whoredom. It's a compound word. I'll get into this in the next slide. What is whore? It's a hoe, right? What's DOM? Domain. Flip that around. What is it? What's a domain? Like a kingdom, domain of the king, domain of the whore. What's a domain? Not quite, not quite. You got half of it. It's definitely territory. Like there's a domain of Schwab. Is the domain of Schwab different from the domain of Hinoko? What's the difference? Sure, boundaries, but what's the difference? See, a domain is a place where authority is exercised. Is there a different authority on Schwab than there is on Hansen? Domain of Hansen, domain of Japan, domain of Spain. Different domains, yeah? So it's domain of the whore. It's a place, it's the whore's domain where authority is exercised. Rulership is exercised. All right? So we're talking about the whore's domain. He says, the spirit of the whore's domain, the domain of the whore has caused my people to err. Watch this. And he says, it's the men I'm after. Why the men? He said, I'm not after your whoring daughters or your adulterous wives. I'm after the men. Why? I can't hear it. Because he said, I put you in charge. Men, turn to another guy and say, God put you in charge. I've gone over this time and time again. What's wrong with America? Is America confused, increasing in death and dying? Nosediving into godlessness, right? And then I said, what are you doing about it? Men, what are you doing about it? And again, guys are like, I don't know what to do about it. Well, that's why we're doing this. This is why we make disciples, right? What's that? Is that candy? Dude, I love my candy. I want to remember that's up there. So, what was I saying? It's the men. Why men? He says, I put you in charge. I put you in charge. Who's responsible for all the mess here? Who said Trump? You know, as cute as that was, that's probably one of the dumbest things I've heard in this church. Even though it's a joke, I get it. You know, it's Trump. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you talk about Trump, you have no idea what you're talking about. I'm not a Trump fan. I don't worship Trump, but I know whose side he's on. I can see whose side he's on. He's on God's side. That man has done more for Christians in America than any Democrat over the last 40, 50 years. And if you can't see that, you're a part of the problem. You're a part of the problem if you can't see that. Israel, suck it. It pissed me off when you guys bring up Israel, man. You don't know nothing. A bunch of kids. Got these opinions and you're untested. You've accomplished nothing in your life. I'm talking to you. You've accomplished very little in your life. The best you've accomplished is probably an enlistment under your belt. That's an accomplishment. I'll give you that. But beyond that, what have you really accomplished? Come talk to me when you've accomplished things, when you got 20, 30 years of great marriage under your belt. Disciple making under your belt. There's so much more I could share about this, but you just be careful. What I'm trying to get you to see, I'm trying to get you to see farther than your little immature, juvenile, primitive opinion. I mean that. I demand maturity, and when you get to be my age, you better demand maturity too. That's part of the problem. Why men? Because men have a mantle of leadership on them. You know whose fault it is that America's a mess? Trump. It's not Trump's fault. It's Christian men who've allowed this. Why? How has this happened if Christian men were strong? It's not just men, it's Christian men, because you should know better. You've been called by God and you've been empowered and you should know better. What does it say about the fact that America sucks right now with all this mess and confusion? What does it say about Christian men? Big time fail. Big time fail. You know nothing what you're talking about, and yet you spew stupid stuff. You're talking about an instrument of evil. We just asked about that question. And you're on the wrong side. I'm talking to every one of you. Man, get me started, man. So the spirit of whoredom is men I'm after because I put you in charge. It's Christian men. And Israel plays the harlot. Israel plays the harlot. What's a harlot? A whore, right? A prostitute, a whore. What's a whore? Modern day vernacular. A hoe, right? So Israel plays. There's a bunch of hoes in the church. I'm going somewhere with this because we're talking about demonic possession. Hoes. What's a hoe? I'm telling you, the church is full of hoes. And somebody said, well, I'm a meritorious sergeant. You're a meritorious sergeant hoe. I can sing where you're a gifted singing hoe. I speak in tongues where you're tongue talking hoe. You know, I'm an evangelist where you're an evangelist hoe. I just asked you how many of you have not masturbated this year? And only one hand went up. Hoe. Turn to someone and tell him he's definitely talking to you. Turn to someone else, he's definitely talking to you too. What did we say? What did we start off with? What did we say that Genesis 1:26 and through 28 says? He says, multiply and what? Be fruitful and multiply and what? Have dominion. That goes hand in hand. So I'm telling you again and again and again, if you're called to rule well, you can't do it if your sexuality is not intact. You guys are like, I thought we were rounding third base and it was going to be nice. No, it's not going to be nice. It's going to get worse. Watch. Dude. So anyway, Israel plays, the church is full of whores. That's us. And the whirlwind. And it's not just sexual sin. It's not just sexual sin. It could be just neglecting our relationship. We're like engaged to Christ. We're the bride, he's the groom. Yes, we're engaged. And you put a pulse on your relationship with Christ. Is it neglected? It's neglected. So that what things compete with Christ in your life? That's a form of adultery, form of idolatry even. Whore. Me too. Yeah? All right, moving on. And this whirlwind, there's a thing, it talks about the whirlwind. And this whirlwind, if you understand, you ever seen a tornado and it's spinning and then cows and trucks go up in that thing? Why do the cows go up? It's kind of funny, but you see the cow move going up. Right? We used to have a little concrete pool down there in American Village. I don't know what they did with it. I just haven't been there so long. But it was like a big open section where all the guys would get in and we'd go in a circle, man, and we just get faster and faster in the circle. And if we did that fast enough and you picked your feet up, what happened? We'd be just spinning all around in circles and everything, right? That's a whirlwind. Why does it say a whirlwind? It's talking about sexual sins and you get caught up in a whirlwind. What's the point? It means you get caught up and you're helpless now and you go wherever the wind takes you. It's like out there, you see them buoys that are anchored? They're anchored for a reason because they're not supposed to move. You take the anchor away, what happens? Where's the buoy go? Wherever the currents take it. That's us. Yeah? All right, here we go. So when you enter, this is very important. Whoever commits adultery is an utter fool. One translation says he murders his own soul. Whenever we commit adultery, we murder this. We kill this. Self-destruct. Now watch this. Domain of the whore. When you enter, boom, all of this happens. This is, you become subject to the laws of the whore. They have a right to you. The whore has a right to you. They have a claim to you, just like I took his hand a minute ago. He agreed, and I have a contract. And the demons say, I have a right to be here. I have a right to operate in your life because of that sexual sin. Yeah? Am I losing you, going too fast? If you feel somewhat drowsy because of food or whatever, stand up. Do some side straddle hops. Do something. I mean that. Somebody say something? Drink coffee or pour it in your lap. Here's the other thing. When you enter the domain of the whore, very important, you enter into the spirit realm illegally without proper covering. Remember, I said sex marries you on 3 levels? Spiritually, you enter the spirit realm illegally without proper covering. We're talking about covenants with demons now. Watch, it's going to make sense in a second. Okay, the first time when you have kids, those kids come under a parental covering. We have $3, excuse me. We have $3, and my wife and I, we were in charge of them, growing them up, bringing them up in the faith, right? The first time they have sex, let's say they had sex at 16. None of them did. They were all virgins. The last two of the virgins, one's about to get married. She's still a virgin. The middle child, she's still a virgin. But they're maintaining their purity. But my point is, what if they had sex at 14, 16 years old? They're married now because all sex marries you. And you begin to leave their parental covering. What's so bad about that? Big time guidance. What else? This is huge. Who's covering them now? See, let's say they slept with Joe Ace. He's a senior in high school. They slept with Joe Ace. Who's their covering now? Joe Ace. And what kind of daddy is he? What kind of covering is he? He's not. He's this guy right here. He's a mess. And they just walk right into that. This is why it's important for you not to let your kids do this stuff too early. They got to wait till marriage. Okay, this is a big one right here. They become multi-married and multi-headed. Men become multi-married, women become multi-headed. If you read Genesis 3:16, it says that her desire will be for her husband. When she has sex, when a woman has sex with a man, her desire is for him. And it says he will rule over her. He will rule over her. Her desire will be for him. And what happens, we had an argument with a really gifted woman. She was helping us do a Father's Day step show, and I was narrating it, and all the men were talking about how man is the head of woman, and she stopped the show. She was supposed to help us produce this thing, and she quit. She said, if you're going to say that, I can't be a part of it. I said, why not? She said, because in my house, we're 50-50. I said, well, the Bible says he's the head, and you're called to submit to him. And she said, well, I can't do this. And so she left us, and we had to kind of put the thing together ourselves. Before she left the island, she came to me and Sandy, and she apologized to us. She said, I watched you two, and the reason why, she said, you guys have a great marriage, but the reason why I got upset about that is because I promised myself I would never put myself under the headship of a man. You know, anybody know why she said that? Her family, her mom had been abused in like 3 or 4 different relationships, and she saw that. She said, I'll never put myself in that position. And she said, and I told her this at the time of our breakup in our relationship. I told her this. I said, let me help you out because you said you're 50-50 and there's 2 heads. And I said, anything with 2 heads is a freak of nature. You ever seen 2-headed cats, 2-headed dogs, 2-headed snakes? You ever seen them? It's a freak of nature. And so you're telling me there's 2 heads in your marriage. That's a freak of nature. It's not of God. And she got pissed. But she apologized later, said, you guys have a really good relationship. She said, I'm sorry. I thought you were domineering over Sandy. She wouldn't let me domineer over her, even though I could take her. I could take her. I'm not scared of her. So anyway, but what ends up happening, you have multiple sexual partners, you're multi-headed. And when you have multiple sexual partners, you're multi-married. It's kind of like this. I'll get into this a little bit. Let's say you slept around and you've slept with girl A, B, C, D, and E, right? And then you meet Mrs. Right, girl F. Will this affect that? How? A lot of baggage, imprinting, comparisons, all kind of comparisons, kissing, size, technique, right? Stamina, flexibility, right? And so what ends up happening, let's say this is a guy, he slept with all these girls, but then he meets Mrs. Right. And then he's with her, but then she was the best kisser ever. But she doesn't kiss like that. Can he tell her, honey, can you kiss like my first girlfriend? Can you do that? No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, don't do that. Because, but in your mind, why do you keep remembering her and her kisses? You got soul ties. You've had that experience and you've not let it go. And then this girl, she was really flexible. She lets you do anything. This girl, she could really, really cook. This one can't. Right? And so what do you think about? This one didn't argue at all, let you do anything you wanted. She's just really happy-go-lucky. And then this one, let's just say, anything goes with her. Right? But then she said, no, we're not doing that. And what are you left with? You see the problems in this? These are all secrets now. And just know this, that every time you leave from here to here, I met a woman, I think she was a lieutenant. She was on the plane down in Naha, about to fly out, and I began to talk to her, and she said she came over to see her lieutenant boyfriend. And she said, I think this is like a third relationship or something. And she said that this is a good relationship, and that we got on the topic of this stuff and sex and all this stuff. She said, well, yeah, just we're finding out we're compatible sexually, and then this was years ago, and so I was like wrestling with this. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this? And she fell asleep, and I'm still wrestling with this. What's wrong with this? And then it hit me. I said, oh, I get it. She said her contention was that every relationship she's been in made her better and prepared for the next relationship, ultimately marriage. Yeah, you heard this before? So every relationship I go through is just preparing me for the real thing. And so I'm like, something's wrong with this, and the Spirit of God showed me. And so when we were taking off, I kind of was elbowing her, and she woke up, and she looked. I said, oh, you're awake, great. You said so-and-so. So here's the thing. When you left guy A to go to guy B, what happened in between? She said, a breakup? I said, no, not quite. What happened? She said, feelings, closure? No. I said, that's a divorce. You said all this was practicing to make you better. No. You were practicing for divorce. What, did it hurt? She said, yeah. Did that one hurt? Yeah. Yeah. So see, what you're doing, you're not practicing for success. You're actually practicing for divorce. And she was like, I never thought of it like that. That's what you're doing when you're jumping around. What? Make sense? Okay, I'm not making this up. All right, then so you violate the commandments not to commit adultery, not to commit fornication, curses and sin in your foundation. This is you right here. And the thing is, if you're in a marriage, in a relationship, and you're trying to work towards marriage, I said minimize the baggage. What that means is that if you guys are having premarital sex, you've already cursed your foundation. There's curses in your foundation. You guys understand that? And so it's like there's going to come a time when you have to dig that stuff up. This is a big topic, and gone over this. You become a weapon in Satan's arsenal. You set in motion this negative law of yielding and bondage, negative law of sowing and reaping. You become physically weak and infirm. You create these demonic covenants. They have a right to operate in your life. Engage, spirit of harlotry, all this stuff. Check this out. Now, that was all the bad stuff, and I really flew through that. This is what God originally intended. This is what God wanted. Check this out. This is all in the Song of Solomon. If you get a chance, Tommy, I can't remember his name. Reverend Tommy, I want to say maybe it's Nelson. He's got a great series. I'll put it on 30th or later, but his name is Tommy, I know that. But he has a great series on the Song of Solomon. I highly recommend you get it and listen to it. It's really good. But this is what sex is supposed to be. It's supposed to be romantic, gentle, exhilarating, frightening, means of oneness, sensuous, holy, responsive, nourishing, and pleasing to God. It is. And one of the things is, when it says it's frightening, he's telling her, pay attention to this. He's telling her, you're beautiful. Everything about you. He's working his way down. You watch it. He's making love to her, and he hadn't even touched her yet. He's loving her with his words. He's saying your hair is beautiful, your nose, your eyes. He's working his way down. Your teeth, your lips, your neck, your breasts. He's working his way down. There's a lot going on here. And before he even touches her, he's making love to her. And he says, you're beautiful in all your ways. You're just beautiful. One of the things that you should never do, because it's scary to be naked in front of someone, particularly your wife when you get married. Don't you ever look at your wife and say, wow, your thighs are getting fat. Is that cellulite? I promise you, she's going to shut down and you'll probably never see it again. The lights will be out the whole time. How would you like it if she looked at you and said, wow, ooh, wow, ooh. Yeah, that would scar you. It would. So you got to be very careful. It's complimentary. It's a place. It's supposed to be a safe place. And all of this is an act of worship. I'll prove it to you. Sex is worship. What you've done with your sex is a form of worship. When my wife and I are together, it's a form of worship. Watch this. How do I say this? How do I say this? There's a word I'm looking for. If I told you I worship Sandy, is that blasphemous? Some of you are like, you bunch of Pharisees. If I said I worship her, I do, I worship her. What does that mean? Some of you are immediately thinking that, oh, idolatry. It's not idolatrous. Worship means just place great value upon something. I don't worship her above God, but I place great value upon her. I absolutely adore her. I worship her. She's not my God. She's my wife. Right? I got in trouble at a church because I spoke at a Valentine's banquet, and I said that, and couples started fighting each other, man. It was great. They were so mad they were leaving, and the husbands were cool with it. The wives, they were like, you can't say that. Whatever. They're miserable. I'm telling you, I'm happily married because I worship her. Worship is a form. What you do with your sex is a form of worship. The problem is most of what we've done with our sex, we've been worshiping evil. Yeah? What are you going to say?
I was saying that they all got angry at each other because they began to measure their relationship based on what was happening. And so they begin to argue with each other, completely missing the point of
Yeah.
where he was trying to get everyone to that this is something you can have
Let me-
in a relationship. It's not to argue about where you are right now. So it got really
Sorry.
for a minute there.
I love this candy. This toffee. Okay. Let me say this. Loving that woman, some of you are not going to be able to handle this. You're not going to understand. You're going to think it don't take all that. I love her good. There's so many reasons why. It's been a long time, but we used to go to marriage conferences and churches that we grew up in. Apologies, I ate the toffee. Marshmallow. You guys know about the marshmallow test? What about the marshmallow test?
Like how many marshmallows you can put in your mouth at one time?
No.
Say it.
No.
That's the only one I know. Yeah.
No, the marshmallow test, when it probably came out in the 70s, 80s, and they would take these 5 and 6 year old kids, and they would sit them down, one kid in a room by himself, and they would say, here's one marshmallow. If you don't eat that, I'll be back in a few minutes. If you don't eat that, I'll give you a second one when I get back. And you used to see some of the kids, boy, there were two kind of kids. Some that chomp, chomp, and then others were like, and they maintained they had discipline. And then when she came back, she gave them 2. Which one am I? I'm kid A. I'm going to eat that marshmallow, and I'm going to try to get yours too. I don't mess. That's just where I am. But they found out, they did studies, and they followed these kids, 20, 30 years later, and the ones that maintained discipline and self-control, they fared off better in life because they learned it at an early age. I learned the hard way. Dude, I jumped in and got burned every time. 4 DUIs, come on. 84, 85, 86, and 87, guilty, felon. I learned the hard way. Go ahead.
So, you talked about how sex is a form of worship, or like just like a good, I don't know how to explain that. But if you do it the right way, does that? I'm asking about altars.
What you mean, do it the right way? What you talking about?
So I'm saying like you have sex in the right setting, like you have sex like in marriage, like honoring God.
Mhm.
Does that go towards an altar?
I don't understand.
I don't know what I'm trying to ask. Trying to word it the right way.
Okay, well, hang on. We'll see. Yeah, because I think it'll be on the next slide. Bottom line here is, when we would attend these marriage conferences, and this is the kind of guy I was. There'd be 50 couples in this marriage conference. And me, because I don't mess around, we go to the marriage conference, unbeknownst to Sandy or anybody else there, I would bring a tablecloth, I would bring some sparkling wine, non-fermented stuff, sparkling wine, and some candles. And while the seminar is starting, I'm putting the tablecloth on our desk, in front of this I got the candles lit, got some champagne glasses and some sparkling wine. And all the men hate me and all the women are like, oh, they're hitting their husbands like, where's this? That's what I do. I lay it on thick. Now, why do I do it? One, because I love her. Why am I telling you this? Because two, I'm trying to help you out. Take notes, lay it on thick. She would go to women's conferences. When she went to women's conferences, what I would do, and she'd like have like two nights overnight type of thing, sleep 2 nights. I would put love notes all in her stuff. I would have a dozen roses sent to her room. And I'm just showing out how much I love her. And all the wives get pissed at their husbands. Why? Because the husbands ain't doing nothing like that. I'm telling you. And then I have husbands, you're making me look bad. No, you make yourself look bad. And the women are always saying, why is Nick so perfect? I am kind of perfect. I am. But why are they doing that? Because the husbands ain't doing nothing. All I have to do is just a little bit. Like yesterday, Sandy went some grocery shopping, and her dishes were in the sink. They were all dirty and messed up. Her dishes, not mine. Huh? Huh, what? Anyway, it was full. And so I saw him and I said, yeah. And I washed all the dishes, cleaned up the sink. And then later on in the evening, she said, you must want some. We're talking about sex. Some of you are like, oh. And so she was like, why'd you do the dishes? And so I'm corny, being corny about it, because I love you. Yes, dear. What? What? I love you. I love you so much. I know, but nothing we say. Yeah, I was just going to leave it right there. You're beautiful. God, you're so beautiful. It was a lot. Yeah, but I love you so much. But the point is, what I'm telling you guys, get a clue. You only have to do a little bit. I promise you, a little bit will take her a long way. Just a little bit. Don't be that husband who's a slouch and ignores her and just, you play games when you get home, or you watch ESPN when you get home, or take a nap when you get home. Just spend a little bit of time talking to her, do things for her. Just a little bit. She'll love that. I mean that. And other wives will be jealous of you. Other husbands will be mad at you. Just the way you like it. I mean that. Just the way you like it. Okay, so all that. There you go. Now check this out. This is important. Anybody know what this is? Somebody said a flow chart. Okay, in the Old Testament, this is called the tabernacle, or called the tabernacle of old. You guys, there's seats up here, man. Have a seat, guys. The tabernacle of old. What's the tabernacle? It's the place where people met and the Lord showed up, or it's a place where offerings were made with the priest of old. Yeah? Pay attention. Watch. It basically has 3 parts. What does it have to do with sex? I'm telling you right now, pay attention. It basically has 3 parts. These are called the courts. They're often referred to as the outer courts and inner courts. Depends on which diagram you have. But these are the courts. The second part is the holy place. And the third part is the Holy of Holies. Anybody know what that red line is? That's the veil. All right, does it have it up there somewhere? I don't have the veil on there, do I? Oh, that's terrible. The veil is a curtain that separates the holy place from the Holy of Holies. What does this have to do with sex? Pay attention. The veil is the hymen. Watch. Help us, Holy Ghost. Watch. Setting you up. Right here, God's original intent, when we talk about the tabernacle of old, in Exodus chapters 25 through chapter 40, and Leviticus and Numbers, this is the tabernacle, and this is mankind. The courtyards are likened to our body. The holy place is likened to our soul. The Holy of Holies is likened to our spirit. The body is sense-conscious. The soul is self-conscious. The spirit is God-conscious. You guys tracking? There's a lot on this slide. What I'm telling you right now, you guys remember, I don't know if you guys had this, but when I was growing up in school, we had these overhead projectors and they had overlays. You ever seen these overlays where you take one transparency A, you put it down, and you see the picture is projected. But then you leave it there and you put a second one on top of it and it enhances the picture. It builds on the picture. And a third one, it just starts building the picture, right? This is an overlay. This is tabernacle of old, but the overlay here is how to have sex with your wife. Some of you just smiling from ear to ear. Some of you are like, ugh. Now check this out. I'm going to say this. If the courtyard is what? It's your body. The holy place right there is what? And the Holy of Holies is your spirit. Now in the courtyard, the tabernacle, in the tabernacle of old, what was this right here? What was in the Holy of Holies? Wait, I didn't hear it. What was in the Holy of Holies? The very presence of God. Turn to someone and say, the very presence of God. Turn to someone else, tell them the very presence of God. And so it's very important that you understand that the priest would go through here and make atonement for the people annually, and the priest would hit all of these stations, and I'll explain these stations in just a second. And his goal was to get from here to here to here to here to here, and then go beyond this veil and go into the Holy of Holies. And he had to do it correctly. What are you laughing at? So what ends up happening here, the priest annually would go behind us and come into the very presence of God. If you came into the presence of God and you made a mistake, what happened? You died. Now, I've talked to some Jewish people. Some Jewish people say it's true. Some say it's not true. I don't know. Don't really care. That's not the point. But they used to say, some Jewish say that he had bells on the hems of his garment. And as long as he was walking around in here, going in circles, praying, and you could hear the bells clink, 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 you know he was still alive. But if it got quiet, they also had a rope tied around his leg. And if some Jews say that didn't happen. I don't know. But because if you don't hear any jingle, 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 you tug on the rope a little bit. Hey, Henry. He did. And you pull him out of there, and then you say, Xavier, you're up. And then you had to go in and make atonement for the people. Yeah? So what does this have to do with sex? What's the importance? What's the relevance? Watch. See, the goal is to experience God. When you have sex, the goal is to experience God. I'm going to tell you right now, when you have sex, the goal is to experience God. That's why I said, what are your thoughts about a threesome? The threesome that I'm talking about is you, your spouse, and God. Most people, when I bring up threesome, what do they say? Girl, girl, guy. Midget, midget, guy. Goat, goat, girl, whatever. Right? The threesome that I'm talking about is you, your spouse, and God. I'm not making this up. I'm sharing with you experience, which most Christian couples just don't experience. Very few experience what I'm about to share with you. Watch. When you intend to have men, when you're intending to have sex with your wife, the goal isn't just sex with your wife. It's for God to be a part of that and showing up and approving. And God saying, I approve of what you're doing. Solomon 5:1. We just talked about that. Now watch. Here's the path, and I got to speed this up. The path is the bronze altar. What do you do at the bronze altar? Old school priests, they would confess, sacrifice, praise, they would love, they'd give life. Right here. This is where you made sacrifices right here. And then, what's the modern day priest? The husbands. What the husbands do? How do they do this? Confess, sacrifice, praise, love, give life. Flowers. Sacrifice, wash dishes. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. Yeah. You're just supposed to love, lay your life down. Take the trash out without asking. Put the toilet seat down. Don't argue with your wife about the toilet seat. Well, if you can have it down, I can have it up. Shut up! Stop. It's not that serious. Let her have her way. Get over yourself. Toilet paper over, not under. These are not really big issues. What does she want? Give it to her. Pick up your drawers off the floor. We don't care about drawers on the floor. We really don't. They can stay there all week long. I don't care. Listen, I'll give you a prime example. When we got home one time, we were on leave or whatever, we were in the States, we got home one time, and when we got back to our apartment, as soon as you come into our foyer, there's apartment B and apartment A. We live in apartment A. There was a roach, a big dead roach right by our apartment, right? And I got there and boom, and I kicked it over there to B. For about 2 weeks, I didn't care. It was still out there for like 2 weeks. We go in and out of the house. And one time we're leaving and we get out and Sandy says, I'm a little slow. Took me 2 weeks. And I was like, wait a minute. Was that about the roach? She said, yes. You want me to get rid of the roach? Yes. I said, why did you tell me? I don't care about the roach. If it was bothering you, I would have moved the roach, but you didn't tell me. Gabe. And so she said, you know, you're supposed to read my thoughts or something like that. No, just tell me. I would have got rid of it. It doesn't work like that. And I got rid of the roach. And so if she sighs, husbands, there's probably something wrong. You should think and say, what was that for? What did I do wrong? Ask. It's kind of like, so do dead bugs really bother us, guys? No, I don't care. I don't want to bend over and use the energy to pick up a dead roach. I don't care. Right, because Gabriel, we had a dead roach up on that bookcase for like a month. I didn't know it was up there. He knew it was up there for a month. He would even stand it up, and he had it standing up like this. He was playing with the roach. It didn't bother him. He said, and so for the record, if any of you see a dead roach in here, we don't want it. Get rid of it. Scoop it up, napkin, dustpan, throw it away. All right. So anyway, so the husband today, what? I heard him. So the husband, the priest went here and he prayed and he sacrificed. And then today the husband does something likewise. The bronze laver, cleansing. Right here, you get cleansed. What is the old priest would cleanse himself. He would wash his hands, wash his feet, and things like this. Right? Today, the husband, because your goal all day long, you know you want to get jiggy tonight. And so here you are as a husband, you're taking all these steps. Yeah? What does cleansing for a husband mean? Let's start with that, you nasty. There are men. I'm telling you, if you stink, I'm going to tell you stink. I love you enough to tell you, bruh, deodorant. You're ripe right now, right? And your breath. When's the last time you brushed your teeth? Right? So if your wife likes to sweat, go for it. But generally speaking, you know who really likes sweat? Men. It's called homoerotic. I'm not saying you're homosexual, but you're turned on by yourself. Yourself turns you on. That's why you look at yourself in the mirror and everything. You're doing all this stuff and you're sweating and you got, oh yeah. That's what guys do. And guys, you know, I had one guy, he was a pilot over on Kadena, and he had hair gel or whatever, his hair was stiff, and one of the young kids went up and did his hair like that. He said, dude, you're breaking my hair, man. He was so, anyway, you broke his hair. Stop. Anyway, I don't think he ever got married. Okay, so there's a cleansing. What you do here, there's a cleansing, there's a forgiveness, you cleanse your soul, and there's a purification that has to happen. How do you do that with your wife? Yeah, you take a shower, you pray together, you make sure that you guys are good, that there's no tension between you guys, right? And you forgive each other. And then you're getting closer to the presence of God. Now you're inside the holy place. And in the holy place, there's this table of showbread. Table of showbread. It represents fellowship, the supper. It reminds you of the supper of the Lamb, and that's coming, yes? Jesus is going to return, marriage, supper of the Lamb. And so it talks about intimacy. So what does it have to do with the priest of today? Husbands, date your wife, cook for your wife, take her out. And if you're going to get in an argument, you know, you ever done that, get in an argument about where you're going to eat, and she never knows, so you're afraid to ask, and if you suggest, that's the last thing, so you don't suggest anymore? You know what I'm talking about? This is what you do. Say it again.
Guess where I'm taking you?
Say, girl, guess where I'm taking you tonight? And usually if they haven't seen all the social media, they'll say, Taco Bell? Girl, you read my mind. We're going to Taco Bell. So anyway, that's fellowship. Eat together. Grill out. Have a picnic. A picnic, man, dudes don't have picnics anymore. Get a blanket, go get a bucket of chicken, and go have a picnic. You think I'm kidding? What? And we did that just the other day. We went to that, you know that dam that's out there just south of Schwab? Anybody, show of hands, who's been at the dam? There you go, good. But see, my wife and I, periodically we go there, we hit all the dams, we go check them out, and we'll just take a blanket and a couple jackets, whatever, and just sit out there and chill. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so that's what that is. What about the next one is, where are we at? Table show over here. The lampstand. What does the lampstand represent? Yeah, candles, of course. What does it represent? It's right there. Fire. Fire, caliente, you know, spice. But it also represents illumination and knowledge because with light you can see. The Bible says, husbands, dwell with your wives according to knowledge. Learn your wife. Learn something new about your wife. I would say once a month. Some of you thought I was going to say every day. That's too much. Once a month is good. But even once a month, I remember some time ago, I learned something about Sandy that I had not known. And she was going through this book and really enjoying the book. And then all of a sudden, I thought she was like in the last chapter, and she just never finished the book. And I'm like, how come you didn't finish the book? She said, because it's such a good book. I said, well, how come you didn't finish it? She said, because I don't want it to end. I was like, wow. Wow. I learned something, right? And so learn things about your wife. Explore her. She'll know if you're trying to learn things about her, right? That means you just got to pay attention to her, yeah? It's going to go a long way. Go ahead.
Pastor Sandy sent me a video the other day that kind of convicted me, but also made me like realize something. She was saying that like couples lose intimacy because the guy stops trying to learn more about the wife.
Yeah, that's huge.
That he already knows her already.
Man, most guys, we're lazy. I'm telling you, we're just lazy, and we feel like got the marriage certificate, bag that trophy, done. The pursuit is over. No, it's not. It just started. It just started. And you've heard it before. Whatever it took to get her, it's going to take that to maintain her. Just is. Explore your wife. Learn her. Share with her. Listen to her. It's one of the hardest things. One of the hardest things you're going to do, men, is listen to your wife. Because they talk so doggone much. They never shut up. God, they won't shut up. That's a joke. You guys are like, but it is true that women do use a whole lot more words than men. Men kind of get to the point. Who's right, men or women? Men will say men, women will say women. Nobody's right. Nobody's right. Okay, your wife is right. Your wife is right. Your wife is right. That's right. You gotta listen, and you're gonna like, oh. And just so you know, when she shares a problem with you, guys, don't forget this. I'm trying to help you out. Don't try to fix her, because our responses will just fix that, and your problem's fixed. She does not want that for the same reason she can't decide where she wants to go eat. Your job is to listen to her, and don't forget this, and just say to her, wow, that's got to be so hard. You're good after that. Because she'll say, it is, it really is. Oh, you're listening to me, yay. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but wow, that's tough. What?
I actually talked to Sandy about this when I first met her at the first Bible study. There was a book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From
Yeah,
Venus.
great book.
And it talked, well, you already know, but for everybody else, it literally talked about just how men think in relationships
That's right.
with women, and how men are
It's a great read.
supporters, and women just want to be listened to.
Yeah.
And that will solve this.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen the little video clip? It's not about the nail.
Yeah.
Look it up. Somebody put it on 30 out there, but it's not about the nail. And the girl, you know, you don't see it yet, but she's complaining to her husband or boyfriend or whatever. She's talking, I got this headache right up here, and it comes on, you know, it's there, and it's just pounding all day long. And then he's like just looking, and then they zoom away, and you can see a nail stuck in her head. And he says, it's probably that nail in your. She said, it's not the nail. It's not about the nail. And he's like, no, I'm kind of sure the nail. If we remove the nail, she said, it's not the nail. Just listen. Would you just listen to me? I'm trying to open my. And he's kind of. And she says that all my sweaters have snags in them, you know. And he's like, okay, that if you take that nail, she said, would you stop? It's not the nail. And he says, okay. And then they go. She says, I'm glad you're listening. He said, that's got to be tough. And so they lean in for a kiss, and they kiss, and the nail hits him in the forehead. And she says, ah, he said, that's the nail, I'm telling you right. And they get in a fight again. But it's I'm telling you, just tell her, wow, that's good. You got to listen to her, though, okay? And we're going somewhere. We're trying to have sex with her, yeah? I'm telling you right now, you better get this right. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. And so, kidding but not. Okay, and then the altar of incense. This is a big one right here. There's an altar of incense right there, right before the veil. The altar of incense, sweet smell and prayers. You know, pray together. Most men do not pray. This is one of the reasons why I'm adamant about making you guys pray publicly, why we have the template prayers all the time. Because if you can get over this and start praying audibly with each other, you're going to be more accustomed and comfortable with praying with your wife. Most husbands do not pray over their wife. They just don't. And you should do it every morning for 10 seconds if you go running out the door. Father, just bless her and keep her, Lord. Satisfy her all day long. Father, speak to her. Even as I'm running out the door, speak to her, protect her, keep her, Lord, till I get back home. Yeah. Let her know she's loved by you. Yeah, it's real simple. I do this exercise with married couples. When we have marriage conferences and we minister to married couples, it never fails. I'll bring all the couples up here and I'll say, here's a template prayer. Or without a template prayer, I'll just tell the husband, pray over your wife right now. I'll do this intentionally. I've been doing this a long time, so I know how to do it. Husband, pray over your wife first. And so he'll pray over, he'll stumble, he'll hem, he'll haul, but he'll get it out, he'll pray over her. Just about every time she starts crying. Why? One, she's never heard him pray like that over her before. And then I'll say, what's going on with you? Because he needs to hear this. What's going on with you? She said, he's never done this before. And he's a little embarrassed by it. And so what are you feeling right now? She said, his words over me are powerful. I wish he would do it more. And the guy's like, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know, though. That's what I'm talking about. And so this is why you men primarily have to be, do you understand? Worship is primarily a male function. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about revelation. What am I talking about? If you study Revelation, the beasts that are going around the altar and worshiping the Lord and falling down and worshiping the Lord, do they have face? What faces do they have? They don't have faces of women. It's faces of men. Worship is a man's thing. Praise and worship teams, it's supposed to be a man thing. It's okay for women to praise and worship the Lord. That's fine. But there's nothing like men getting up there and leading praise and worship. It's a different kind of strength, different kind of power. And this is why men need to know how to pray. Yeah? It's kind of the same way when raising kids. When you're raising kids, when it's time for them to get up and go to school, Sandy, her way of getting them up is like, turn on the lights real soft, turn on some little soft music, little birds chirping in the background. Children, wake up, it's time for school. I'll be back in 10 minutes. And she creeps out. And I'm like, that drives me crazy. And when I get up out of bed, they hear this. As soon as my feet hit the floor out of my bed, they jump out of bed. Why? Because when I walk down that room and go into their room, if they're still in the bed, what's going to happen? They know to get up. Abuse? It's authority. It's authority. My cats even obey me more than they obeyed Sandy and the girls. Cats. They'd be out there on the porch and they won't come in, and the kids have to go out, pick them up, and bring them in. I open the door and say, yeah, mule, yeah. And they'll run inside. It's not abuse. It's just a mantle of authority that you have, right? We're going somewhere. We're trying to have sex. All right, so now that we've hit all these stations, and now we're at the veil. The veil, physically, anatomically, represents what? Her hymen, her vaginal opening. And now it says that if anyone went behind this veil unworthily, death was the result. What have we been talking about all day? About sex and sin. And so when you have sex unworthily, some form of death is a result. The wages of sin is some form of death. A wage is something you earned. When we sin sexually, you've earned some form of death. Yeah? All right. And so what happens, this is you, the husband. You went through all these stations. You're getting it right. You're clean with God. And you're clean with her, man. And then now you go beyond this veil. And now the two of you are beyond the veil. And what did I say was in the Holy of Holies? The very presence of God. And this is why I'm telling you right now, you're supposed to experience God when you have sex with your wife. Let me tell you try to describe what it's like. Anybody know what Shekinah glory is? Go study it out. Shekinah glory, it means the tangible, manifested presence of God. The Shekinah glory fell on the mountain when Moses was going to the mountain, and the smoke and everything came down, and then Moses told the people, yeah, don't go to the mountain. God says don't come to the mountain because that's his manifested presence of God. And if you go there, you're going to die. Right? Remember this? There are times, frequently, when Sandy and I are together, that the presence of God is like a cloud, just falls in our bedroom. It's such an incredible, beautiful, worshiping, even addictive kind of thing. And nothing compares to it. Nothing compares to it. Then you realize this is what sex is. It becomes a form of worship. That's how much we're connected with each other. And God is right there. It's just there's peace. It's not even physical sex anymore. It's an act of worship. And I've had people come to us and say, I had this vision of your bedroom chamber and the doors were closed. I didn't see anything, but there was light coming out over the door, through the borders of the door and all. I say, yeah, that's about right. Yeah. And so here's the thing. If that's not happening for you, you're probably doing something wrong. I'm not saying it happens every time, but if it never happens, there's probably something going on in there you're not supposed to be doing. Or probably there's something unclean because God cannot be a part of that. Okay? All right, well, there's a lot there. Presence of God, Ark of the Covenant, all that good stuff. Now check this out. Okay, we got one more class. Let's go ahead and stand up. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break, but any throwbacks? Quick. Throwbacks, quickly. Anything? Anything? Nothing? You guys okay? You handle one more class? Good. Gabriel?
Yeah, I was going to say the worship isn't necessarily just like placing something above God, but placing great value on something.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Worship isn't, when you say you worship something, you're not saying I worship it to the point I elevate it above God. It's an idol. That's not what you're saying. It just, all it means, study it out. It just means placing great value and esteem upon something. Yeah, it's not complicated, but it just sounds, oh, that's...
And it's also a place of surrender. Like when you worship the Lord, you want to surrender all to Him. Everything you're carrying out, all your thoughts, everything. And so even when you do get married and you're with your spouse, you want to surrender that area of your life, every area, to the Lord. And especially, when you're together intimately, you surrender that to the Lord. We had some couples, when we talked about this before, they were saying, oh, no, we can't have God in there because, and we thought about, we talked to them about that, and we were asking them, well, then what's going on in there that you think God should not see? And obviously God sees it all anyway, but is God blessing that area of your life when you're inviting something in there that does not honor God?
Yeah.
And so, of course, you want to give that to God because God wants to give all of it to you that He meant for sex to be.
You're so beautiful. Anybody else? Okay. Quick break. 5 minutes tops. Do your thing. Get on back here, and we'll steal home.